Hey everyone, Maestro here. I am the football enthusiast. Hope you guys are doing well. Thank you guys for joining me. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Let's get started. So, I was originally planning to make a just a full-on match reaction to the PSG Bayern game that we now know finished 2-0 to Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich going through 3-0 on aggregate. And I wanted to like I said before, my original plan was to make just a normal match reaction and talk about PSG and Bayern, how I think the game went, etc. But I think I want to do more than that. So this will be just a small reaction to the game, but I also want to talk about PSG themselves, talk about Messi and Mbappe, Neymar, and essentially PSG themselves and what I think has gone wrong, and what I think they should be doing to achieve what it is they want to achieve, which is the Champions League. First, let's just do my quick thoughts on the game itself. So, very similar to the first. Ultimately, we saw Mbappe and Messi be close. Well, Messi and Mbappe were both dealt in different ways. Well, not really different. Look, Bayern did a great job, first and foremost. Let's just point that out. Defensively, they were flawless. Fantastic from them in this game. Credit to Upamecano. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Sorry again. But credit to him. He was by far, for me, the man of the match. He was absolutely sublime. Specifically for what he did on Mbappe. It was a fantastic job. They really did not let Mbappe get into the game. And when he did, he didn't really make do well with what he had. Messi, the thing was with Messi, he got on the ball. He struggled to get on the ball at first, but he came in deep, essentially, as he usually does during these times. And when he did get on the ball, you'd see players like De Ligt, Kimmich, Goretzka, anyone that's around him to kind of just crowd him. And they did a good job of limiting his options. You know, they weren't the players to pass to were covered. He always had to think fast. Look, essentially, just as a whole, Bayern Munich put to rest who I think are the two best players in the world, Mbappe and Messi. They dwarf them both, and credit to them, fantastic. Do I think Mbappe and Messi, if they played better, they could have broke down Bayern? Yeah, I do. So I think that's on those two. They did not play as good as you'd need to at such a level. But in general, I think most of the credit needs to go to Bayern. You know, let's not be lost in that and kind of just bash Mbappe and Messi. Let's give credit where it's due, and Bayern were terrific. But where the game was lost for me mostly is the midfield. It's just like the first game. I'm gonna say what I'm about to say, and it might sound harsh, but I genuinely believe it. I believe there are some mid-table clubs in the Premiership that have a better midfield than PSG's, or at least would have put up a much better fight yesterday. It was absolutely awful. Seemingly every pass was off, every touch was off, the positioning was awful. They were always out of position. They weren't supporting each other. The options were to always put it back. They could not find a way to make it through. It got so bad that Messi had to come into the number 6 role as a DM. And even then, they dealt with it Bayern. So, defensively, they were terrible. They were cut through by Bayern. And offensively, they offered close to nothing. In fact, nothing. Defensively, look, I don't think their biggest problem was their defense. I think it was okay. But ultimately, they were kind of left hanging by their midfield. It finished 2-0, but the game was kind of a 1-0 performance. The reason why it finished 2-0 was because of the fact that after 1-0, you know, with a 2-0 on aggregate, they really needed to push forward PSG, and doing so left them just completely open, and then there's 2-0. So I don't blame the defense that much. I do put it down to the midfield, and I now want to speak about why this is. Look, the players just aren't good enough. Verratti has been a fine player. During this generation, he's been good. I've never been his biggest fan, but I have always appreciated his play. I've always admired it. But I will say, in the past season and a half, especially this season, he has been below par. And yesterday was the worst game I've ever seen from him. He was clueless, he was lost, his decision making was dreadful, and ultimately, this might sound harsh, he was a liability to their team. The same goes for Vitinha and Ruiz, but Verratti is the reason why I'm focusing on him more is because we expect more from him. You know, Vitinha and Ruiz have done this before. We know that they have this performance in their bag. You don't think Vitinha to be Verratti to fall so low, but he as well fell so low, and it was just a pathetic performance from all three of them. And of course, look, it wasn't helped by Mbappe and Messi not playing well too, but if those three shore up and if they are able to kind of string a few passes together and get a groove going and be organized, it then helps and translates into the attack. And that never happened. The fullbacks were awful too. Hakimi got destroyed by Davies. Offensively, defensively, he was done. Mendes offensively, Stanisic did everything to stop him, and he stopped him. Mendes was a threat in the first leg. He was far short of that in the second leg. So just very depressing performance. And I now want to kind of move on to PSG themselves and kind of just talk about what's wrong. Look, I still stand by the fact that I believe PSG have two of the three best players in the world, in Lionel Messi and Kylian Mbappe. I very strongly believe this. But let this be a lesson. Let this be a lesson for us all. It doesn't matter. You could have Messi, prime Messi with prime Ronaldo. It doesn't matter. Because it depends what is behind you, what's in the midfield, what's in the defense, who's in goal. If these things aren't good enough, you will fall short, as they just have. Now look, yes, I will say this. If you take out Messi from this team and you put in prime Messi or prime Ronaldo, they probably do still go through. But Messi's 35, he's not that player anymore. He's still great, but like I just want to clarify, he's still fantastic. He's not in his prime, of course. He's nowhere near his prime. And yeah, let me just get back to the point. The point is, it takes a team. Okay, you have great talent in Messi, Mbappe, and Neymar too, but ultimately they are as unbalanced as any team you can see. It's kind of like that picture where you see, you know, the front of the car is like a flipping Porsche, but the middle and the back is nothing but a scrappy old Ford Escort or some shit like that. It's not, the balance is not there. And why is that the case? They had some transfers. Let's look at this right here. Their most recent window, they brought in Vitinha, midfielder, Fabian Ruiz, midfielder, Soler, midfielder, Sanchez, midfielder, Ekitike, I'm not even sure what he is. He's a midfielder, attacker. I don't know. He's bad. Let's just say that. You had Zaire Emery coming up to the first team squad and being what's the word? Like he's there, I guess you should say. These youngsters here didn't really participate much, but he's there. I guess Bichiabe also participated a bit. But anyway, look, these are the transfers, and they're just not good enough. You know, you when you put these guys up against Müller, Goretzka, Kimmich, you're having a laugh. You are not being serious. You are not being serious in your pursuit of a Champions League. You are not being serious. You think you are. Hey, we bought Messi, we bought Mbappe and Neymar a few years ago. This project, it was finalized by the arrival of a 33, 34, now 35-year-old Lionel Messi. And no, it's the issue that they never attended to the issues. It was clear as day the midfield was just far too poor. Verratti was far past it, and your additions during the first half of the season coming up to January were not good enough. January comes, you need to bring in, you need players to come in. I believe no one of any effect comes in. No one of any effect comes in. And in fact, in the summer, you lose players that could have an effect in your midfield. Paredes, Di Maria. Now, they're not great, but they're better than this lot. So, the reason why I think PSG are where they are, and this has happened, is because I believe their owners, just kind of the people that run this team, you know, they see the big names, they spend all the money on that, and they just assume these superstars that we have up front will cover for the poor excuse of a midfield we have behind us. And they have paid for that. They don't seem to understand football, and this team was never going to win a Champions League. This squad here was never going to win the Champions League. People's hopes, I mean, look, my personal realistic expectations, I thought I should note that I predicted 3-1 PSG before this game started. I said 3-1 PSG, but like 5 minutes before the game started, I'm thinking to myself, why the hell did I say that? Because at the time I'm thinking, do you know what? I think the best can hope for is a draw. I kind of fell into the aura around, you know what, they got Messi, they got Mbappe, magic will happen. But no, because even in those times in football history where magic does happen, for example, Messi and Mbappe most recently in the World Cup, where Messi in the Champions League all those years with Barcelona, and game against Liverpool, the game against Bayern, the game against Real Madrid again, the game against Chelsea, the game against United in the final, United again in the final, 2009, with Mbappe in his moments too, with the run with Monaco, with France 2018 when he won the World Cup, and then France again 2022, he was amazing, with Ronaldo, all his amazing moments, all these moments from Messi and Ronaldo, and you think, you know what, Messi can do it again. But no, those moments happened because they had support. It's never done alone. As much as we like to say Messi done this alone, Ronaldo done this alone, no, that's never ever been the case in football, and it never will be. Sure, there are times where you could say this is the closest thing we've seen to a individual great trophy won. For example, people say that Maradona in '86, he never did it on his own, but that was the closest thing we've seen to a individual really carrying a team. And now people say, I'd say 22 Argentina is also the closest thing I've seen in my lifetime to one man carrying, but it still wasn't on his own. It's the closest thing we've seen to someone doing it on his own, but it wasn't the case. All these magical moments, these comebacks come from support from the full team. The midfield chip in, the defense chip in, the goalie chips in, and the forwards chip in together to combine to make one fantastic team that is capable of these great moments. PSG have Mbappe and Messi, and make no mistake, they are not the problem. They are part of the solution. But like I said, the key word is part. The issue is with the midfield, with your defense. They are the issue for me. Okay, Mbappe and Messi are, of course, kind of an issue because Messi's 35. He seemingly wants to leave. Mbappe also looks like he could leave. I mean, he kind of keeps flip-flopping. But anyway, in terms of their play, yes, sure, sometimes they are the issue. But if you just shore up their midfield, the results will be so much worth it. Let me just say it like this. Let's put it like this. If you put Mbappe into Bayern Munich and you take out Koeman, and then you put Messi into Bayern Munich and you take out Müller, and then Müller and Koeman are now playing for PSG, Bayern Munich would win this tie 5-0. Okay, and then they'd also go on and win the Champions League. Why? Because Kimmich is here, Goretzka is here, De Ligt, Upamecano, Stanisic, Davies, Sommer, and a competent coach, Nagelsmann, who understands the needs of this team, which Galtier seemingly has not. Look, I don't know Galtier's situation. Maybe he did go to the board and say, listen, we need to show up in midfield, we need to bring in someone in January, and they couldn't deliver. Maybe, but either way, the performance has been dreadful, and he does deserve to take some accountability. So to sum up, the issues with PSG right now is just, They have superstars, yes, but there's just so much more is needed for this. So much more is needed for a championship winning side. Let this be a lesson to us all and to all. Look, it's not hard to understand. Yes, Mbappe is great. Messi is great. Messi is the greatest I've ever seen. Even at 35, he's unbelievable. Mbappe is a generational talent. I can't wait to see his career continue to unfold. But what's behind them is not good enough. And I'm not saying Mbappe and Messi are relieved of all the criticism. But what I am saying is that, look, just maybe you don't like what I'm about to say, but it's just the truth. For me, it's my truth. They would have played well if they had Kimmich, Goretzka behind them. If Kimmich and Goretzka were behind them instead of Vitinha or Verratti or Ruiz, they would have won. You know, because if you have a shore-up midfield, you then allow the attack to be free to do what they want. A good midfield gives your attack more chances. Okay, and also makes them feel more secure. Alright, it's the key to a footballing side, the midfield, the middle of the park. Essentially, games are won and lost in the midfield battle, and they have a midfield that cannot compete with Bayern, City, Arsenal, I'd even say Liverpool, even though their midfield kind of sucks right now, but Real Madrid, Barcelona, I could go on and on. All the top teams. Out of all the top teams in the Champions League, their midfield is easily the worst. And games are won and lost there. And that's it. That's why they lost. That's the issues with PSG. And it's what they need to fix. Now, in terms of the future, like we said, we already know what I think about what they need to fix. I want to talk about the future of Messi and Mbappe and Neymar and Sergio Ramos. So, my personal hopes for these players. So with Ramos, I don't have a huge attachment to Ramos. I appreciate what he's done for the game in terms of, how good he's been for the game, how it's been great to watch him play. But I don't have a huge attachment to him. But what I do hope for him is that he finds a place, or even that's PSG, to kind of to once again realize his top play. You look at what Thiago Silva's doing. He's been fantastic football. He's same age as Ramos, I believe. So why can't Ramos do that? I hope for him he finds that form again. To the three players. For Neymar, I'm always entertained when I watch Neymar. He is a spectacle. He is a superstar. Watching him play football is beautiful. And what I want for him is essentially, look, I would love it for him to win the Champions League without Messi. That's kind of why he left Barcelona. It's the whole thing about how, Barcelona will never be his team, always be Messi. So Neymar needs to leave, and he left. And unfortunately went to PSG though, who were just the worst. And it hasn't worked out for him. But for his future, I'm so puzzled. I don't know what's going to happen. See, there are rumors that he will be leaving PSG because they don't want him anymore. But to who? I would love I would love to see him in the Premiership. That would be awesome. You heard rumors about Chelsea possibly being interested, which I think would be a good signing. I still think he's a fine player, one of the best players in the world. I still believe that for Neymar, and so I hope for him, for his future, that he finds a place where he can once again prove himself to us all. Because he does have something to prove. For those that say no, his career is set, he has nothing to prove. No, he does. He does. He left on a mission. He left Barcelona on a mission to prove he can lead a team without Messi. And he hasn't achieved that. Now, he probably won't from now on, but there is still something yet to salvage. He can salvage something for his career. So I hope the best for him. I mainly hope this for his international career. Because we all know with Brazil, the expectations, it's kind of like Messi with Argentina in terms of you have to deliver a World Cup. Why? Well, because Maradona delivered one. And for Brazil, you have to deliver a World Cup. Why? Because the era of R9, of Ronaldinho, they delivered one. The era of Pele delivered it with Garnacho, etc. So that's what I hope for Mbappe. Sorry, Neymar. Messi. I'll go to Messi, then Mbappe after Messi. What I hope for Messi, I am completely fulfilled. I am a huge fan of Messi. I love him. The reason why I say that is because football is an entertainment sport. and it's helped me from all throughout my life, and no one has entertained me more than Lionel Messi. I thank him for that. I appreciate him for that. And I also love to analyze football, and when I analyze Messi, I can't understand exactly what it is that makes him so great. He is an enigma, he is an alien, he is a freak, and what I hope for him is to go back home. I want for him to go back to Barcelona, 2-3 more seasons, and then get a final great send-off from his home club. That for me would be perfection. And I don't think it's much to ask for. Seemingly both parties want this. It's just the financial issues. But look, that's what I hope. Look, let's move on to Mbappe. Mbappe, like I said before, is a generational player. A player that I can't wait to see his career unfold. And what I want for Mbappe is to set his club football legacy alight. Because on the international stage, he's already done great. He's won the World Cup. He was young when they won the World Cup. Players like Griezmann and Pogba and Kante were the best players, but he was still there. And also in 2022, in the final, he was fantastic. Throughout the tournament, he was fantastic. So that's great. But his club record, his club legacy is not fitting for the player he is. And ultimately, the only way it can improve is a Champions League trophy, and that's just far too much pressure. He needs, what I want for him is to move to La Liga or the Prem. I want him to move to one of these leagues to the point where his legacy won't only be enhanced by a Champions League, it will be enhanced by a La Liga or a Premier League, etc., or breaking records in those leagues, because he just broke the record for PSG's top goal scorer. Ain't nobody give a damn. I don't know why I'm talking like that, but no one cares seemingly, because it's a league. Look, it's the 5th best league in the world. I'm not saying it's terrible, but he is too good for that league. All right, he should be playing in leagues like La Liga and the Premiership, where his level will be tested to the extent it should be, and then we can see greatness happen. For me personally, I want him to go to Real Madrid, because he does have some form of love for Real Madrid. We all know this, and also being a Galactico, like a player of his talent. I think a player of his talent belongs in either Barcelona or Real Madrid. So that's why I want that for him, because I want to see greatness. And seeing greatness at such a level would be fantastic to watch. That's what I like to see. I like to see greatness. And Mbappe is that kind of player where he can produce a career that is top 10 all time. But unfortunately, the only thing he can do at PSG that will enhance that is to win a Champions League. And that's silly. That's actually kind of unfair. But the thing is that the French league is just not up to scratch. It's not good enough. And ultimately, you're also playing for a team, for a board, a ownership that simply don't understand football and the needs of it. I don't feel sorry for Mbappe, by the way. I just want to clarify that, because he had his chance. He could have moved if he wanted to. He chose not to. We all know what happened last season. At the end of last season, there was this whole big thing. He's going to Real Madrid. He's going to Real Madrid, and then bang, out of nowhere, we hear from Fabrizio. He has signed an extension and essentially owns half of Paris. That's a joke, of course, but he got a lot of money, and I hope he didn't stay for the money. I hope he stayed because maybe he thinks that a Champions League, there are rumors that Mbappe believes that a Champions League with PSG would do more for his legacy than with one with Real Madrid, which is true. It's true, but it's not going to happen. I'm sorry, Messi's getting older and older, and he might be leaving next season. Neymar is always injured. In terms of improvements for the team, who's going to come? What midfielders can you buy that will improve this team to the point where you'll be Champions League winners? It's not going to happen. So my hope for Ramos is to reach a great level again or retire, because either way he's fantastic. My hope is for Messi to go back home to Barcelona and get a proper send-off. My hope is for Mbappe is to go to Real Madrid and truly start and make a legacy for himself at his club level. Those are my thoughts on the game. Those are my thoughts on the issues with PSG, and those are my thoughts on what I think the future holds, what they should do with their future with Messi and Mbappe. And let me know what you guys think. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you think that PSG could eventually get Champions League if they kind of stick it out? Where should Messi go? Where should Mbappe go? Where should Neymar go? That's also an issue, because it's very much possible that all three of them they could all three be wearing a different shirt by the end of this season or next season. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. If you enjoyed, please leave a like. If you want to see more, please subscribe. You can always keep up to date, turn on the bell. I really appreciate your guys' time to watch this video. Thank you so much. Have a great day and take care of yourself.